In my last video, I analyzed the cinematography of the End of Evangelion. In this video, I'm going to go over more shots from the film and explain why they work so well. Get your popcorn ready, because this is the analysis of Evangelion. The third impact starts with Shinji choking Asuka, then we get this shot of Shinji holding Asuka by the neck. The shot composition is impeccable here because the fallen table and chairs from before are now in the foreground and create a frame within the frame. This is a technique used to create a tighter frame around the focal point, keeping the eye focused on what the objects are surrounding. We also get this technique used here. The clouds in the mass production Evas create a circle around Rei in Eva Unit 1, creating a circular frame within the frame. During the third impact, we get flashing imagery of frames from the show itself, all the characters and moments flashing before the viewer's eyes. I think this is here to show how life flashes before your eyes in near-death experiences, and the third impact is one of those experiences, as all individuals may cease to exist because of it. I also think the sequence is supposed to visually stimulate the audience, but also in a way be ignored. Film is an audio-visual medium, but at this moment, the audio of the internal dialogue between Shinji and Rei is more important than any of the visuals, as Shinji controls the third impact and his decision matters. The visuals here only enhance the chaos of the third impact, but also allow viewers to just listen and not focus on the imagery, as it's stuff they may have already seen before in the show. Another thing I enjoy about this sequence is the rack focus at the beginning, where the characters start off out of focus, but gradually become more in focus. I think it's a neat detail that as Shinji thinks more and more about his life, the more in focus it gets. In this shot, the use of perspective enhances the composition. Instead of a boring shot of Rei's face, we get an interesting shot because of the angle and foreshortening used. This specific use of it shows how giant and scary Rei is in this moment by comparing her to the geofront we've seen throughout the movie, her head being as big as it. We also see debris floating from the geofront, going up towards Rei, which keeps the viewer's eye focused on the top of the frame, where Rei is, rather than the bottom. The perspective and foreshortening in this shot of Rei enhances the composition by making Rei's forehead, the focal point, the center of the frame. We could have had a less interesting shot of Rei's head here, but instead, the use of perspective allows a dynamic shape that centers the focal point. The perspective lines all bring the viewer's eye to the third eye opening. What's more impressive is that this is all a close-up, which I don't see many dynamic close-ups like this in live-action films. This shot of Shinji alone in the park uses symmetry to create balance within the frame, and this allows the lines to all flow towards the center of the frame where Shinji is. This shot also uses symmetry to balance the frame. But why use symmetry? Well, since this is all in Shinji's head at this point, it could show that this is a fantasy, perfectly built, with no imperfections except Shinji himself. So there is a point in this movie where it switches to live action, and here lies the true meaning of the film, that changes mediums to show the reality of the world we're living in and critique escapism as a way to cope with reality instead of working to make a better reality. To me, a lot of these shots are beautiful using lens flares and grainy footage. They even mirror the animated swing shot by including a symmetrical shot of a real swing. To me, this really shows that there is beauty in reality, if you just look for it. Evangelion uses color to convey emotions in shots, like blues representing Shinji's depression in this shot, or blues representing Asuka's depression in this shot as well. The shift to oranges and reds during the third impact conveys the change within the world, one that is violent and causes the destruction of all living things. There are also shots with a lack of color, which I think convey a lack of emotion, like Shinji hovering over Asuka's hospital bed before doing something only one who is not thinking clearly would do. There's also a completely white background at the end of the movie in this shot, showing that Asuka and Shinji are the only ones to reform after the third impact. This keeps the focus on only them and uses color to do so. Congrats, you've made it to the end of the video. If you haven't seen my previous video, part 1 of the series, and you want more, now's the time to watch that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.